My name is John Simon. I'm a founding partner of Total Impact Capital. We're an impact investing firm focusing on basic human needs, including health. Well, when you look at healthcare in the developing world, you realize that the existing models that we've used here in the developed world, first off, they're not working that great here to begin with. Secondly, it's almost impossible to think about how you would apply them in developing countries where the number of health workers per person are so much less, where the disease burden is so much higher, where the infrastructure is so much less. And so really the only way that we can achieve the shared goal of universal healthcare that's part of the Sustainable Development Goals is if we innovate, if we think about new ways of doing things. And from my perspective, if we find out ways to do things better in the developing world, that may have some real knock-on effects in terms of how we can get our own health system to function a lot better, which certainly needs it. Over time, there's no doubt that investing in health is something that A, has tremendous social benefits, but B, will have financial returns. And obviously there are a tremendous number of people who've made small fortunes and some very big fortunes investing in health. But when you look at the challenges of the undeveloped health sectors around the world, it's going to take a long time for a lot of those health sectors to get to a point where you could think about purely commercial returns coming out of those. And I think we have seen that a purely government approach, purely public approach, purely vertical approach has not been effective either. And so you really need to figure out how you can mobilize the private sector providers and the capital that people put into the health system themselves through their out-of-pocket payments to get to a more comprehensive, more holistic solution. And the only way you can do that is if you take an investment model, but one that can deliver returns over a longer period of time than what commercial investors would typically expect. I've been to this event several times. I can't remember, is this the fourth or fifth? Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I've been to the event many times. And it's always exciting to see what some of the new innovations are that are being presented. I mean, it's one thing that this event highlights every year is the ferment and the intellectual ferment and the excitement that's happening in the healthcare space around finding new solutions, trying to do things differently, trying to address these really basic needs that so many people face and so many people are not having addressed in the developing world. And so, from my perspective, I'm always thrilled to see two things. One, the latest and greatest in terms of the innovations, and two, some of the folks who were there previous years who are coming back and who've maybe made some mid-course corrections, maybe adjusted what they're doing, but are figuring out how to find a place in the healthcare ecosystem that allows their innovation to actually be put into practice. We've made in connections with innovators who we've ended up, partnering with. Our investment model tends to have deviated away from investing in single innovations, but we invest in pools of capital, and those pools of capital have continued conversations with a number of the people who have presented here in the past.